What is up, my gamers? Welcome back to yet another episode of the Noobs for the Noob God Tournament. Today we have Ian Hunter versus Soccerfan. This is the last of the, I don't know what to call it, I suppose quarterfinals, even though it's, you know, the first round of the Noobs for the Noob God Tournament. After this we're going to be pairing our people up for the semi-finals and then, of course, going to the final of all finals where you can compete for the glory of a Discord role and also some free DLC. Who's excited for that? I know I am. But yes, let's get into these army compositions. Starting off with the Lizard Men, once again, we have Krotgar, and he's going to bring in Lord Croak to help him lead. That's a dastardly combination right there. I think Gorok and Lord Croak are the only ones that I would consider more terrifying. For his front line, he has 2 units of Saurus Spears with shields, and 2 units of Temple Guard. Fairly standard Lizard Men stuff there. For his range units, he has the Umbral Tide, which are the Regiment of Renown of the Salamander Hunting Pack, and he also has an Ancient Salamander, so, you know, one for attacking big, large targets, and one for attacking infantry. Good idea there. Split your cost to get the most value possible in any situation. I like that. He's also bringing a Bastildon with the Revive Crystal. Can't be bothered to pronounce it, it's really difficult. I'm sure that's going to be used on, you know, his Lords, Heroes, and his single entities, like the Shredder of Lustria. Oh boy, the Regiment of Renown Dread Sorin, that is so much money. In fact, I would wager to say that that's like a quarter, if not half, of the budget of this entire army. But you know what? It's fantastic. I can't wait to see it. And of course, he's bringing a unit of Pterodon Riders. Now, as for the Norscan force, I apologise, I'm not too familiar with Norska, so it's going to be an interesting one. He's been led by a Marauder Chieftain and a Shaman Sorcerer of Metal. For his front line, he's bringing 2 units of Marauder Spearmen, 3 units of Marauder Berserkers, and 3 units of Marauder Champions with Great Weapons. That's a lot of front line. That's a lot of Marauders, and I'm very interested to see how this is going to go, because it's going to be a lot of micromanagement for that much infantry. For his range units, he's just bringing 2 units of Marauder Hunters with Javelins, and for his monstrous units, he's bringing 2 units of Skinwolves and 3 units of Fimir Warriors. It's going to be an interesting one. Let's get into this. Here we are for the final time on this beautiful map. As you can see, the Lizard Men have deployed in a fairly standard defensive formation, with the Temple Guard in the middle, being flanked by the Saurus Spears with shields. Saurus Shields with spears, I should say. The Shredder of Lustria is heading them off, and of course Krotgar, and of course he is on Grimlock. Oh my god, it's been so long since I played Lizard Men, I can barely remember what it's called. I think it's called Grimlock. I believe it is. But anyways, on his big old dinosaur, so that should be very exciting. Off to the side here, we have the 2 range units, the 2 Salamanders, both the Hunting Pack and the Ancient Salamander. They're, I assume, going to be taking control of this hill and trying to rain down some fire on these lads over here. And of course, the Revivification... Oh my god. The Revivification Crystal is kind of just in the middle, just to, you know, support anyone that you can. With the Pterodon Riders deploying nice and ahead to get some vision nice and early. As for the Norscans, they are very spread out, in fact. They have just a bunch of their Marauders all across this front line here. These spears are flanking the Marauder Chieftain, which is in the middle, and the Shaman Sorcerer of Metal is right there at the back, which I assume is going to move forward to get some nice spells off nice and early. And of course, you can't ignore that the Marauder Chieftain is riding the War Mammoth, one of these best mounts in this entire game, I might say. Well, at least outside the Lizard Men, because good lord, they have some overpowered mounts. But yes, it's going to be a very strong one, nevertheless. Skinwolves are holding up the rear, and they have this nice left flank over here with the Fimir Warriors and the Berserkers. Very excited to see where this one goes. Let's get into it. So as you can see, the Lizard Men player is moving his Pterodon Riders in. I'm not exactly sure what he's going to be aiming for here. Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Just moving them in, but he is getting shot to pieces by those javelins, and immediately the leadership is absolutely obliterated, taking half of his health. Oh my god, that you don't like to see that. He immediately took half his health in damage and is now retreating very hastily. He needs to get to Revive Crystal. I can't bother, guys. It's too hard to say, okay? I'm sorry. Ooh, not a bad rock drop there, though. Some decent damage on those Marauder Champions with Great Weapons. Not too much. Oh god, I've just lost all my words. I apologise. So yes, at least he got some value there, and the leadership is starting to come back, and he's going to want to give them a little heal up while he can. The Skinwolves are moving towards this ranged position, and that's not good, because I believe Skinwolves can take these guys out fairly easily. At least they can take the Hunting Pack out. I'm not sure about the Ancient Salamander. Yeah, look at them. They are just charging them down, doing so much damage, and it's not looking good. Looks like he sent the Ancient Salamander in to try and slow them down, while the Umbral Tide tries to make a retreat, but these Skinwolves are just on them, and it's not looking good too. It's not looking too good there. He's moving these units of Saurus Spears with shields in to try and shut this down, but they are not the fastest units, so by the time we get over here, it might be too late. We can see the Shredder of Lustria along with Krotgar getting into the Marauder Chieftain, along with 2 units of Marauder Champions with Great Weapons. And I imagine there's going to be some Croak casts going on this, because, you know, it's bloody Croak. You bring Croak, you want to do Croak casts like that. He's also moving his Temple Guard into this. Now, this is a little bit of overcommitment, I would say. It's all well and good to have this nice big death ball in the middle here, but right at the start, you don't want to overcommit units and, you know, just, you know, have everything in one clump. It's just going to make it so easy for this spellcaster to get so much value. He's moving his other Saurus shields, Saurus spears, good lord, to take on the Marauder Spearmen. Meanwhile, this unit of Marauder Spearmen has managed to get around and, well, it's just kind of sat there at the moment. Oh god, that's very unfortunate. The Umbral Tide immediately taken out. Basically 0 value. That is very painful. And these Skinwolves are essentially at full health due to that regeneration, of course. That is not good for the Lizardmen whatsoever. That is it's not the best start. The Supreme Shield of the old ones is out to give all these guys damage resist, so they are going to be very difficult to kill for a few moments there. But they just need to do something more. Being this massive clump, it's really not going to work out too well. As for over here, the Ancient Salamander is taking so much damage. These Skinwolves, I mean, they're taking a bit of damage, but they're just so incredibly tough, and they have regeneration. It's not good. It looks like he's trying to move his Saurus Spears now over to take out the Marauder Hunters with Javelins from fighting the Bastildon. But I wouldn't recommend that. I'd say, keeping these Skinwolves, at least try and get one of your range units. Oh, that being said, the Umbral Tide have come back and are now getting their revenge on these Skinwolves by firing into their backs there. So much damage. These guys, they do so much damage. I love them. The Lizardmen ranged units, well, these range units and the other Ancient Salamander, oh, goddamn, they're so good. Unfortunately, the other units of Skinwolves is now moving in their position and is going to, I imagine, take them out very quickly. They won't have any trouble doing that. Fortunately, the other Ancient Salamander is now able to fight, and he's going to be firing onto the Marauder Chieftain, trying to wear him down as soon as he possibly can. We have these Pterodon Rams, they managed to find their ways round to the back and are now trying to shoot into the backs of these Berserkers here. Hopefully not hitting Grimlock and Crockguard too much, otherwise you're going to be poisoning your own units, and no one really wants to do that. There we go, moving out of danger here, and never mind, they're broken. Alright, see you later, lads. Feels bad. As you can see, Crockguard is fighting against some Berserkers. That is exactly what I wanted to do with that. I believe it's called the Hand of the Old Ones, isn't it? Ability going out on the Marauder Chieftain, who is taking a massive amount of damage here. Good lord, he's getting absolutely shredded. He's getting focused by all these Temple Guard. The Death Blob might not be working out too well, but he's certainly getting some value on that Chieftain, so you never know, it could come back in his favour. Unfortunately, the Umbral Tide have completely disappeared from the battlefield due to those Skinwolves, and it looks like they are now moving in on this Ancient Salamander. He might be able to get 1, maybe 2 volleys off before they get here, but honestly, they're going to take him out. It's not a matter of how or if, it's a matter of when. As you can see, the Revivification Crystal is now trying to get into the back and, just charge into this clump here and give some regeneration to everyone. Oh, a beautiful cast by Croak there into those Familiar Warriors, and of course onto the Chieftain. So much focus on this guy. They just need to take him out. They just need to keep the pressure up and just get rid of him as soon as they possibly bloody can. Now, the Marauder Berserkers have, well, gone berserk against Crockguard, which means not really that big a deal for him. Of course, the Plague of Rust is not very good. It reduces armor, which is never good. An excellent cast there from the Metal Spellcaster. But against Berserkers, look how much health he's got and how much armor. Even with the reductions, it's not going to matter. Another fantastic Supreme Spell Shield of the old, not Spell Shield, just Standard Shield of the old ones there. So all of these guys are now incredibly tough to kill for a few seconds. So it's going to be impossible for the Norsemen to get any value here whatsoever. And they are just going to keep snowballing these bloody lizard boys. The Ancient Salamander has unfortunately been routed, but we might see a little bit more of him yet. He's got 412 health, you never know. He might get his leadership back. In fact, he's got no man, he's got -2 leadership, but we'll just have to see. The Feral Dreadsaur in the Shredder of Lustria. Good lord, that thing is so good. 129 kills. Oh my god, hang on, the light's behind my monitor, having a seizure. There we go. Ooh, fantastic ranged barrage there by the Marauder Hunters with Javelins onto Crockguard. It might not be, the most incredible damage in the world, but, all those missile units hitting him at once, that's gotta hurt. Of course, he's just spamming a bunch of spells in himself. That's Sacred Spawn of Zotal, the Swiftness of Itzal, the Deadly Onslaught. He's just doing everything to do so much damage to that Shaman Sorcerer, and oh my god, that was a lot of damage. He is terrified. He is out of there. You can see another cast from Coke here coming down on the Marauder Hunter Javelins, but they might just be able to avoid it in time. Yes, it looks like they will, unless Crockguard can pin them down. Ooh, no, they're just safe there. Excellently moved, excellent paying attention there by the Norscan player. The Marauder Chieftain has in fact come back, but is now just going to get focused by the rest of these units. The Feral Dreadsaur is just shooting at him passively, not even trying to fight him, but because of how that unit works, good lord, he just does so much work, it's crazy. These Skinwolves in the middle of this entire mess, fighting against Temple Guard, which isn't their optimal matchup, but they're still just managing to put in work, because Skinwolves, man, they're pretty good. It sure seems that way. Can't wait to play Norska. So we just have this clump here, and then we have Crockguard. He's chasing down the Shaman Sorcerer at Melt, but he's taking a huge amount of damage. He's actually looking pretty low there. I hope the Revivification Crystal has got some health there for him, otherwise he's not going to last very long at all. Unfortunately, he's forgot about these Pterodon Riders, and Crockguard over here, so they're taking a massive amount of fire. These Pterodon Riders have completely broken and have taken so much damage. They're not going to be coming back. They've got 2 units left, 126 health, no chance. Now, Krogar has finally woken back up and is now chasing down these Marauder Hunter Javelins. They can't fire whilst moving, so I'd say that's pretty good use for him for the rest of the battle. You know, just keep him chasing them. Never mind, they've decided to fight him. Okay, time to die, lads. And it's just that point now where it's just a matter of cleanup for the Lizardmen. Yes, they don't really have that many high health units left, but the ones they do have left, they can easily take on the Norscan force. You know, it's just Skin Wolves, some Familiar Warriors, and then another unit of Familiar Warriors, and that's about it. You know, they've got a few units dotted here and there that are coming back, but honestly, it's just looking like the Lizardmen victory all day here. Now, the other units of Marauder Hunter Javelins are now moving in on Krogar, who's actually taking quite a lot of damage from these guys. Wow, I didn't expect that whatsoever. So he's having to run away from this at only 719 health. He really needs to make sure he doesn't die, otherwise that's going to affect his unit's morale severely and might well turn the tide of this battle. But he looks like he's managed to get him away, and he should be able to outrun pretty much anything the enemy has left, so I'm not too worried for him there. Now, in this death ball, all we have left is just these Familiar Warriors, and there we are. They're all starting to break. Massive chain route there from the Norscans in this clump, and it looks like they can now move away and start to focus on cleaning up the rest of this force. Now, the Temple Guard have found the Marauder Hunter Javelins and are very quickly taking care of them, and there we have it. Just a few more kills and it was army losses, and there we go. The Lizardmen have taken it. Congratulations, guys. That was a really interesting battle. I thought with that initial charge into the blob that the Lizardmen weren't really going to put much of a fight, but it turned to work out for them. I think it was just focusing down that Marauder Chieftain that really helped them out, really gave them the edge that they needed to, you know, take down the Norscan leader and then take down the rest of his followers in that massive, you know, that massive blob right there. The Norscan player did do some excellent plays. Those ranged volleys on the Pterodon Riders and of course on Krogar were fantastic, did so much damage. If he'd got a few more of those off, he might have killed Krogar, might well have turned the tide of the battle, but nevertheless, excellent try from both sides right there. Very much enjoyed it. Now, starting with the Lizardmen, as you can see, Krogar, so much value. He was just charging around into so much infantry, berserkers, skirmishers, javelins, anything you want, you name it. He's got 81 kills. He's an absolute monster on Grimlock. It's just value town. Now, Lord Croak, 139 kills. That's actually pretty low for Lord Croak, but I think it's because there weren't really that many clumps of enemy units, more so than there were clumps of, friendly units. Nevertheless, that's some excellent value from Croak there. Plenty of kills, but what else do you expect when you send Croak into battle? As for the front line, not really too many kills, especially not on these spears. But for the Temple Guard, 56 and 36 there, not too bad at all. But of course, they were focusing down the Marauder Chieftain. So even if they didn't get a massive amount of kills, they got a massive amount of value just taking that guy's health to pieces. Unfortunately, the Umbral Tide got 0 kills, even though they did get a bit of damage off on those Skin Wolves. Unfortunately, they just got taken out so quickly. Same thing for the Ancient Salamander. He managed to get 28 kills, but still, he could have got so much more value if he had been allowed to stick around and get rid of all of his ammo. It was an excellent play there by the Norscan player to shut down them with the Skin Wolves as soon as possible. The Revive Crystal, not too many kills, but again, it's a support unit. It's meant to be there to sit there to heal the units and keep them in the battle as long as possible. And looking at the health bars of everyone, looks like he did that fairly well. The Shredder of Lustra, goddamn, that thing. It's crazy. It does so much damage. 176 kills. What else do you expect? It's fantastic. The Pterodon Riders, only 1 kill, but again, they did do quite a lot of damage with their Drop Rocks ability, and were doing quite a lot of support damage with their poison, so even if they didn't get many kills, they did get a lot of value. As for the Norscan player, the Marauder Chieftain getting 44 kills, I think that's just because he was surrounded, and if he hit, he was going to hit the Lizardmen, so it didn't really matter. He could just get a ton of kills just by existing, but unfortunately to get focused down before he could get much more value and have, you know, a fantastic duel with Krogar. The Shaman Sorcerer Mel, not too many kills, but it looked like he was kind of using him in more of a buff and debuff use case, so I'll let him off for that, but still, you know, some excellent casts. That Plague of Rust on Krogar, that would have been excellent if he was in a duel with something that could take him out a little bit easier. Unfortunately, the Berserkers just didn't have the firepower to get through, but nevertheless, it was an excellent idea. Now, the front line fought the majority of the Norscans. Didn't get too many kills, you know, 0, 4, 5, 7, 4, 13, not too many there. But, you know, 24 and 18, it's not too bad. It's better than nothing. And when you're going against the Lizardmen, they didn't really have that many units. You know, 347 total units. So, you know, 24 and 18, like a large percentage of that. It's almost 10%. Well, it's not quite. It's probably like 8%. But I digress, it's still enough value to make it worth it. Those skirmishers, they were targeting large, so even though they didn't get many kills, they still got a lot of value. The Skin Wolves, by far the best used unit on the entire Norscan roster. Took out those ranged units incredibly. That was beautiful, excellently done there. Unfortunately, they just couldn't do enough work to carry the rest of the army, but nevertheless, excellently used. The Familiar Warriors were just stuck in that clump with the Chieftain, fighting Temple Guard, fighting spears, fighting dinosaurs, fighting anything, just doing so much damage, getting a bunch of value, but unfortunately not picking up the well, not picking up enough kills, and it meant the Lizardmen took it. But Sioux's really going through. Let's get to the scores. Okay, starting with Eon Hunter, who was playing the Lizardmen. For army composition, we gave him a 10.5 out of 20. We felt like it was a fairly meta Lord Croak army with just, a few units to pin enemies down and, just let Croak do as many spellcasts as he possibly wants. So we couldn't score him too highly. We enjoyed his skirmishing units and a couple of decent monster units, but overall it was a very average army, we felt, so we gave him a 10.5. For tactics, we gave him an 8.5. We think he should have saved those pterodons for a bit later as they got focused down way too early and he didn't really get any value out of them there. We thought that Kroq-Gar should really be targeting the enemy lord since he's, an anti-large unit. So if he had got him on the enemy lord and stuck him there, the enemy lord would have probably died much faster and, they probably would have took the battle even sooner. Croak does need to be kept out of battles as much as possible though, because he was in the middle of all that melee clump in that big ball, which isn't the best. I mean, Croak can do some decent melee damage, but if you can help it, keep him out of it unless it's against something extremely weak. So we had to score him a bit down for that. But overall, it was a very straightforward strat of creating that death ball of units around the enemy lord and just spamming some Croak spells in it. So we can't score it too highly. As for magic, we gave him an 8 out of 20. There were a couple of Croak spells here and there, but we can't really give too many points since Croak is just about the most meta thing in the entire Lizard roster. The shields were very nice and kept his units in the ball alive a lot longer than they otherwise would have lived, so we quite enjoyed that, and we thought that they were timed quite nicely when the enemy was trying to do a lot of damage at once to counter that. Some of the Croak spells were a little bit poorly timed as well and gave the enemy time to run away. So we thought that the tagging and timing could have been a lot better, but with Croak spells, the timing is so strange that you really need to learn it a ridiculous amount before you can get a good gauge for it. So overall, that brings his total to 27 out of 60, plus 15 bonus points for winning. Moving on to Sokafan now, who led the Norscan force. For army composition, we gave him a 12 out of 20. He brought the rarely spotted infantry spam Norskans, which, well, it's rarely spotted. It's not very common whatsoever to see that. Normally you see a lot more monsters, so that's quite refreshing to see. The metal spellcaster isn't very common, but to be honest, the fire spellcaster is the most common for a reason. It is so much better, as we'll see a little bit later. The skin walls were a great pick, and he used them excellently, as again, we'll come back to in a little moment. And the Mammoth Lord, if you're going to get a Norscan Lord, you want him on a Mammoth whenever you can, so we really enjoyed that. As for tactics, we gave him a 9.5 out of 20. He had a great response to the Pterodon advance and shut it down immediately and made sure they got basically no value from that initial charge. The skin walls were excellently used, shut down those range units and kept on them every single time they came back. Excellent micro work there, and basically made sure that those two units got basically zero value in the entire fight. The Lord did get stuck in the Lizard Death Ball and couldn't really get out, so we can't blame him too hard for not getting him out, but we should have been a little bit more careful with letting him get stuck in the first place, so that is why we scored him a 9.5. For magic, we gave him an 11 out of 20. There were some nice usages of Plague of Rust to debuff the enemy units, but it could have been comboed with other units to do more damage rather than just casting it while the unit itself is relatively safe. Like one of the Plague of Rust casts went down when Kroq-Gar was fighting some Berserkers, and Berserkers aren't really going to do much damage to him, even with Plague of Rust. It would have been nice to see those Javelins firing upon him when he is nerfed by the Plague of Rust, or, get some Familiar Warriors or the Skin Wolves in there, something that's really high damage. That would have been a bit better. Fire, as I mentioned, is the most popular spellcaster for a reason. It is infinitely better, especially with a fat Lizardman clump like this, but we can't fault him too harshly for not using spells that he doesn't have access to, so we'll give him an 11 out of 20. That means that he gets a 32.5 out of 60 overall, but that still means that Eon Hunter as the Lizardmen is moving on to the semi-finals. And that concludes the first round of the Noobs for the Noob God tournament. So that means that our next two battles are going to be Isaac versus Small Gang and Wizard King versus Eon Hunter. And whoever wins those two fights will go into the final, and then this fantastic tournament will be over. Since I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Noobs for the Noob God tournament, be sure to leave it a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe if you enjoyed this content and my content in general. It just means that whenever I pop out a new video, it comes straight to you. You don't need to search for it. It's as easy as that. There's currently about 20% of people that are subscribed, and I would appreciate that, being a little bit higher. Some of you viewers, you 80%, I would appreciate you coming over and joining the 20%, make it a 21, even a 22%, that'd be absolutely fantastic, and I would love you so much if you could do that for me. But if you did not enjoy this video, then be sure to leave a dislike and leave a comment telling me what I could have done better, what the players could have done better, roasted into absolute oblivion. We absolutely love to see that, and I cannot wait to read them. But yes, I believe that covers just about everything, so for now, I've been COLONELDAMNEDERS, and I'll see you next turn.